Hey Aries, how's everybody doing? Trust I did not forget to do your reading yesterday. Spirit actually had me push it off a day. That may hold some significance for you. I hope that everybody's doing well. Before we get into it, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. I'm seeing the Page of Swords in the theme. Let's see how this pops out. Okay. So, it looks like something is going to be changing, and it may be something that feels quite difficult. For some of you, this is about a relationship that you have, but it's something that as you see it, the attachment may be out of balance with this person. I'm hearing ungrounded very strongly. This may have been something that was going on for a long time, and now there's going to be a change that's happening. A change that follows is what I'm hearing. Feels like getting to the point where you're ready to see something that you may have not been seeing before. Getting to the bottom of it, where it's coming from. Especially when we talk about things like codependency, addiction, obsession, things like that. When we're starting off with the devil here, which is like anything that's out of balance that we're experiencing, anything that we're doing too much of, doing too little of, feel like we need to put such an intense effort when it comes to the management, the temperance, the handling, the care of. And I'm seeing this be related to an interpersonal relationship. It's like maybe you even at times want something so badly that it gets out of hand. But there's a sense too of being like you could have been coming from a really genuine place, but at that point in time maybe didn't understand facets of codependency or like what was too much. And there's a sense of understanding this now, especially because I am seeing a lot of passion, a lot of like even tension we can say that you have with this person, a lot of desire, things like that. But there's a sense of being able to see through this and understand why things are coming about in a way where you can kind of take back control of something that maybe you felt had gotten out of hand, or maybe you continue struggling when it comes to you managing this relationship. As I said before, it feels like you're very much ready to see something that you hadn't been seeing before. Because maybe in the past you were like, you know what, it feels good to be so involved in something and there's so much passion, and even if it's chaotic or it feels like a lot, I enjoy that. And then there's that moment of being like, you know what, I don't want to be a slave to what I'm feeling anymore. I don't want to be a slave to my attachments. And so there's a sense of being like, okay, well, why is this happening now? How do I gain back the control? And there's a sense, too, of finally being ready to see that. And that's why this change comes, because you're ready for it. And this can even be a change in perspective that you've had, but it's like some epiphany now that you're understanding when it comes to your relationship with this person and what's going on here. For some of you, this somehow ties into work / your finances. Maybe some sort of insight you're getting on a decision you want to make when it comes to your job or the ways that you make money. And maybe you feel like it's kind of up to destiny where you're going to be going. You know that you're at a crossroads right now. And there's a sense of... I'm seeing someone almost on a paraglider here. And they're going to go wherever the wind is blowing them. I'm seeing you move away from a situation with someone because as much as I'm hearing intended, as much as love is present in this, there's also the element of something else that's not going to allow the connection to be maybe the potential you see it as being. And there's a sense of snapping back into the reality of this and understanding what it is rather than what you want it to be. So there's a sense of moving on from it. Maybe until it can be filtered out into the sense of purity that you're looking for it to be. This is something that you know is not going to bring the sense of like harmony and peace and equanimity that you're looking for it to be, and that's the reason. So this isn't to say that like something can never exist within your sphere, but this is the decision that's being made, that until something can be like that within itself of the highest good, until something can be healthy for you, that there's a sense of not being able to participate in it regardless of what other feelings are there, because I am seeing a lot of other feelings here, especially big love feelings and things like that. It's like there's definitely a lot of emotions. But I'm seeing you turn away from something that feels destructive at times and more into a place of reflection, so you can figure out why those things happen in the ways that they do. You know what this reminds me too? This is not to say that like a person is toxic. This is saying that sometimes when our traits come together with another person's traits, what happens within that dynamic is not something that's healthy for you to be around. And this is about analyzing like why it gets to that point, where it's coming from, if this is something that you can maintain and work through with this individual, or if this is something that's not going to work. Because fortunately, I guess, however you want to see it, you can't control what another person is going to do, and so it takes two to tango. And as much as we can want something to be healthy and something to work, if another person is not willing to put in that work, or they're not ready to see certain things, then they're just not there yet. And that's not to say they never will be, but this is about really understanding if you can have something in your life that may have a tendency to get out of whack or out of balance, and be like, is this something that I can actually manage, or is this something that is unmanageable, and every single way I see it, it's going to end up being something unhealthy for me? Is this something that feels good in a moment, and then long term this is something that is impacting my life in ways that I don't want it to? So it's all about asking yourself those questions. And understanding too that you can't just put things in a box and be like it's good or it's bad. There's a whole mixture of things, and there are a whole different bunch of variables that come together to create something and make it what it is. And sometimes when we tweak variables, it changes the outcome. And so this is all about you reflecting and being honest with yourself, and you trusting yourself and taking a deep look at this and seeing it for what it is, and seeing beyond the attachment that we may have, seeing beyond the codependency we may have, whatever your story is with this person, with this connection. And I mean, this doesn't have to be a person, although for a lot of you, I'm seeing that this is about a particular relationship you have, but this can be a relationship with a person. This can be a habit. This can be a job. This can be an addiction. It can be any of those things, because we all have relationships with the things we exchange energy with, the things we interact with. So it's important to note that as well. For a lot of you, I am seeing that this has to do with someone from your past. I'm looking at Capricorn and Virgo, and I'm also looking at Jupiter. I'm seeing all of these different phases of a relationship here. That is very much what I'm being drawn towards. See how there are two people on the Six of Cups, two people on the Five of Pentacles, two people on with the Lovers. It feels like looking within at every different angle and state of a dynamic that you have with someone. It's like the beginnings of it, the nostalgia of it, the times when things were not how you wanted them to be, the times when you felt alone, the times when you felt separated, the times when you had like a poor outlook regarding the relationship, or maybe when you felt like I don't know, like the relationship was a detriment of you. And then there is like that basic instinct of like attraction and draw you have towards this person. The essence of the connection. It seems too like there's a preparation energy based off of your knowledge of the past and how it's gone with this person. I'm seeing a preparation for if things don't go as you expect them to, if you choose to continue participating with this person. Because it feels like no matter if things go like completely sideways or completely dead on, there's a sense of being like, I'm going to be prepared for all of this, all of what is going to unfold. So it's like the worst of the worst from your perspective, and then the best of the best, and being prepared for everything in between when it comes to the layout of this. Capricorn, Virgo, Jupiter, Gemini. You may take a chance with this. Remember too, Mercury is in retrograde, and some of us are already experiencing the impact of that. I mean, it may not technically be in retrograde yet, but because of the, what is it, pre-shadow, you can feel the effects of this already. People coming back through again, people that you haven't heard of, things like that, heard from. Seems like there's a lot of stuff that's going unresolved right now. I'm seeing a lot of internal conflict, a lot of confusion when it comes to how you're feeling. Things that are being sorted through. Feels like this is very much part of the change right now too. It feels very normal for the process that you're going through. Yeah. You're being guided to stick with this, because what I'm getting is that the more you work through this, the more you're going to get to a point that you're going to recognize you've made progress within, and you're going to feel good about that. You're going to feel like you have reached like maybe a milestone in regard to that. Because in the past, when you were dealing with a connection with this person, maybe you couldn't tell up from down, and now there's a sense of you getting your bearings more so than you had before. And there's a sense of doing this too in like a conscious, knowledgeable, aware space. And maybe before you hadn't been able to perceive things like that. Maybe it had been more of an emotional process, and there was like a lack of spirituality or a lack of like maybe other types of logic. And now it's like, rather than looking at this just solely in a logical way, or solely in an emotional way, there's a sense of like bringing all of these different perspectives together cohesively. It looks to me too like there's something going on when it comes to the communication, and maybe even like working with or sharing energy with this person in a way where like there's a sense of things not being straightforward. There's still a sense of tension, or maybe even times you feel like there's a lack of things being straightforward. I don't know on which end this is coming from. And this can be coming from you, this can be coming from that person, and maybe they also don't know how they feel completely either. It looks to me like things are not clear cut when it comes to your interactions with this person. Like maybe this person also has a history of being competitive with you in a way, and leaving you feeling confused, because it's like, if we're in a relationship and we care for each other, or if we're interacting and we care for each other, like why is there competition coming through? Maybe this is also something that happens with you too. But yeah, there's a sense of like being on guard, like being ready to fight when you interact with this person. Although I'm seeing that the interaction is there, in the like both parties are interacting with each other, but it kind of feels maybe at times like walking on eggshells. But it seems like the more patient you are, and the more you're like holding tight onto the things that bring you stability, the easier this is going to be for you, the more efficiently you're going to work through this. It's like reminding yourself of what the goal is, and that if you are patient and consistent, what you want is going to come through for you in relation to your stability. There's a sense too of generosity when it comes to, and maybe this is something you're sharing with yourself, showing up for yourself, being patient with yourself, holding your own hand through a process, seeing your spirit guides with you too. I'm getting a closer perspective as to what's going on internally. I'm seeing internal conflict about you interacting with this person, working with this person, interacting with this person, because you don't really know how you feel. You don't really know how they feel. There's also a sense of like regret, like things didn't go the way I'd planned in the past. Like, look at what's happened. This is you working through something where we are trying to move out of a space where all we're looking at is the past and how that has gone. Because there's a sense of holding on to it so you're aware of the possibilities of what can happen, but not allowing it to hold you back from making empowering decisions for yourself. So if you feel like you just keep focusing on like what went wrong in the past and how this person let you down and all of these things, this is about moving beyond that. And being patient with yourself as you go through your process too, because you have to feel all of the grief and all of the suffering like before you're able to process through it. But there's a sense of while you're in it, knowing that you're going to be able to move beyond it and not staying stuck in that place, because sometimes that can happen too. We stay stagnant and we get stuck there. But this is about you giving yourself the time that you need to move through this, which is different for all of us, and for you to come out on the other side. Because when you do, I'm seeing that like your sense of like things being right within the world for you is there on the other side of this. And there's a sense of finding what you're looking for because of this work that you've done. A lesson in you fighting for what brings you peace and comfort and safety. What feels solid to you, what feels sure to you in relation to what you can provide for yourself and how to build that environment. I'm getting that boundaries are a big thing in this as well. You setting boundaries for yourself to protect your emotional, psychological state, your physical space, your body. I'm looking at Sagittarius in this spread. Kind of what this feels like to me is that you are in a new place than you have been before. I'm seeing that you're going to be starting something new, and intuitively you may be aware of this. Somebody's like welcoming you, inviting you into beginning something new. This is somebody that's been watching you if they have not come through yet, and they want to have a new beginning with you. But yeah, depending on your situation, because some of you might do this and some of you may not, I'm seeing this be... There's some relation here in a past relationship that you've had, but I don't know if you're going to take the offer from this person. There's a sense of maybe... waiting them out in a way to try to feel through their intentions before you commit to something. Alright, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.